The only way you can educate yourself is from information that comes from without. And yet our subconscious has all the facts, but we're not in touch with our subconscious. But if you tell your subconscious something that, even if it's false, your subconscious will believe that it's real. My name is John Eagle Freedom. I'm not a doctor, but I've cured myself of cancer, and I've cured myself of diabetes and a lot of bad habits. So you have to realize that we are creatures of habit. I want to introduce an organization, and some of you got this magazine, and some of you can stop by the booth and pick one up. This is an institution of a friend of mine named after the father of medicine, Hippocrates, 500 years before Christ, that said, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. They eliminate stage 4 cancer here. I went there when I had cancer. Diabetes, cancer can be eliminated. Cancer is not even a disease. It's a malfunction, a mineral deficiency of your immune system. But this magazine that some of you got, you can call or email and get this magazine mailed to you for free. All you have to do is request it, and they'll be glad to give it to you. That being said, let me get some of these things out of your way there. 6 decades. Any of you ever heard of the name Ann Wigmore? Yes, well, Ann Wigmore is the founder of Hippocrates. And in this magazine, there's a picture of Ann Wigmore. And any of you know anybody with white hair? White hair, Ann Wigmore had white hair. 2 years on this program, her hair turned back golden brown. White hair is created from a copper deficiency. There's over 100 elements of life, and in the farming industry, the soil is mined like gold mines, and yet they only put back 3 to 6 minerals. And we'll get into where all sickness and disease comes from here in a minute, but I'd like to introduce you to my friend, Dr. Brian Clement, and a little video right here. I'm not from the electrical world, so let me see if I do this. All I got to do is press the forward.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, Matt. Nice to see you, Eric. Nice to meet Matt. Yeah, thank you guys for being here for this monumentous occasion. It's really an incredible opportunity for me to be here with you guys and to share this information with the public. There's so much talk around these minerals, and I think that this is a great opportunity to bring some clarity to what's going on out there, especially for me and for all the viewers. So I'm really happy to be here, so thank you. First off, I would like for you, Dr. Clement, to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here at Hippocrates.
Well, as you know, the Hippocrates Institute is the first and foremost and oldest natural health center on the planet. This is our 6th decade. And 2 types of people come here. Very, very ill people and very seriously healthy, smart people come here. And what we do is we bring them back to themselves. We give them the tools to utilize in their life to make themselves well, psychologically, physically, and spiritually. And so I became quite interested in what Matt produced many years ago. And minerals have always been a central role in nutritional science. And when I tested these minerals, they were outstanding. There was something quite unique about them that I hadn't found in my 40 years of experience in the past.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. I can't wait to hear more about that. And Matt, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Basically, I've been mentoring under Shimonishi Osao's work. It would be equivalent to about 9 years. It would be equivalent to someone mentoring underneath Brian for 9 years. So I've had an amazing journey working with this technology, and my main goal has always been to get it to the people that need it, but also make it available to the general public. And so for me, I've been involved in bringing the understanding and the educational side forth so people can understand this isn't just a mineral from rocks. This is a part of nature and how nature actually produces minerals from the springs and the depths of the earth. And my main position with the company is I founded Aja Inc. several years back, and I'm here to be an advocate for health and for the wellness of water and what reflects to the general public.
Oh, great, thank you. Brian, this next question is for you. So last year, you agreed to test Life Force here at Hippocrates, and we'd like you to explain the results on your findings.
Well, let me rephrase it. I didn't agree to. I discovered this product, and of course I scrutinize anything that Hippocrates gets involved with. And there was some political debate that surrounded this product. And before I went forward, I wanted to either dismiss that debate and scientifically validate that that was wrong or not. And so we not only utilized our willing and ready guests who come here, but many members of our medical team, including Dr. Anna Marie, my wife, and myself. We did very serious and in-depth blood test where we looked at minerals in our bodies and things that ought not to be there, heavy metals, etc., and did it before we started the product. Took the product for several months and did this with a number of people, and at the end repeated that sophisticated test and found out that things that ought not to be there were lessened, things that should be there were increased. The importance of these minerals that we've just discussed is the fact that they're ionic, they're electrically charged, which makes it quite unique to a rock mineral. That comes in plant minerals, but not in rock minerals that I know of.
Okay. Well, along with that, there were some concerns around Life Force, and one was that it was imported under the category of battery acid. Can you please explain that?
Yeah, when you're importing raw materials, especially something like a concentrate that is in a higher acid form, they have to go under a category. Everything that's in a shipping container will be insured that it's not going to harm whatever package it's next to. And even if you imported something like a fertilizer that was a sulfate-based, that would go in your organic farm, or something that was going to go in food products, and it was in concentrated form, it has to have a main category in which it's actually imported under for protection insurance reasons. And battery acid is what all sulfate-based products will be imported under. So that was the only reason why the main category was battery acid, but when you look at the subcategory, it's inorganic minerals. So you have two categories going on, and people got confused looking at the main category. So it's just understanding importation. It has nothing to do with what the product actually is.
And to make that simple, governments worldwide categorically make things simple for themselves, not the public. So sometimes you're pigeonholed into something that appears different than it is.
I see. And also, in the article that came out last year, one of the things that they mentioned was high levels of aluminum. So can you clarify that as well?
I'm sure Dr. Clement could tell you about the blood test on aluminum, but when you look at the product as a whole, it's not an aluminum product. There's not an aluminum ingredient added. It's a natural mineral complex. And there's many products on the market right now that contain high amounts of aluminum in the raw and natural health industry, such as zeolites, clays. These all are called aluminum silicates.
90% of filters, water filters. Yes.
So it's a complex. It's not an ingredient added to the product, and it's not something that actually builds and stores because it's in salt form. So your body actually has the ability to excrete it and remove it naturally through feces, urine, and sweat.
Right, okay. So you could elaborate that on, but I want to refer to one of the questions in your magazine here. Matt, you make the claim that the minerals in Life Force help the body assimilate nutrients better. What is unique about how it accomplishes this benefit? And then, Brian, you responded, the potent ionic electrical charge contained in these earth-harvested elements resonate at approximately the same 75 hertz that the healthy cells do. Can you just elaborate on that, and then also about the aluminum?
What's really amazing on Earth is that when you study biology deeply, you realize that everything is totally the same. That the human cell, the Earth itself, the atmosphere, and now we know the multiple universes all have a certain rhythm. It's almost like a Mozart concerto. It's perfect. And when we start to analyze things that are appropriate for the human body, this product fits into that category. And the reason being is that it's vibrating, the frequency of the nutrients are exactly what the human cell is. So just like you and I, when we're attracted to a woman, We're attracted because their frequency is actually relevant to your frequency. And that's honestly what's happening. We have romance in our ideas and the way she looks or talks, etc. But it's really about biological magnetism. And that's exactly what we find. Aluminum, now let's talk a little bit about that, happens to be something that is used in every major water filter system that I know of on the planet, except distillation. And the reason being is that it has an ability to take non-organic pollutants out of water. And so why nature has, through evolution, through God knows how many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of years, created that as a balance to hold everything in place and intact, not to give you aluminium or aluminum. As a matter of fact, if that were in fact true, I would be saturated with them. I didn't have aluminum to begin with on my sophisticated test. None of us had it to end with. So if it had aluminum in it, prove it to me. There's no aluminum that's going to get into the human body, I can assure you of that.
And one more thing to add to that, because it's very important to understand, and I try to make this point when the information came out, but I think if people do the proper research, they'll have a better understanding of aluminum. It's the #1 metal on the Earth's surface, and it's the third most abundant element on the planet. So I have a simple response to people that have a fear of aluminum. I say, well, then you shouldn't live on planet Earth, because it's the #1 metal on the Earth's surface. You get everything you consume, fruit and vegetable base, has aluminum sulfate in it.
Yeah.
You can't get around it. So.
Okay, so I want to add personally to you guys, how important is this mineral to water purification in this time that we're living right now? I mean, it seems like this is like one of the most important findings in, I don't know how many years.
Well, it's certainly one of the most profound in biology and water science in decades, maybe a century. And let's explain water to you. Everyone immediately when we speak about nutrition go to food. Food is not the most important nutrient. The #1 is oxygen. Without it, in 7 minutes, we're not here. Water, approximately 4 days, and we're not here. So with that said, over the last decade and a half to 2 decades, there's been an emerging science that has been even frightening to me, that shows that every drop of water that we consume as humans on this earth, the more than 7 billion of us on this earth, are contaminated now with pharmaceutical drugs, with plastics. They went to the outreaches of the North Pole and South Pole and found out that the fish in the most pristine waters, little lakes and ponds, nobody lives thousands of miles from there, no human, are contaminated with plastics. And that the little male fish, that 80% of all the male fish in the 250 cleanest bodies of water on the planet Earth, generally thousands of miles from humans, have now become females. They become transsexual because of the plastics. So how important is it to purify water? I cannot think of anything more important in front of us in nutritional science today. Water is 70% of your body, 70% of the earth, reflecting what I said a few minutes ago. Everything is really the same on the planet. When you look at the transport of nutrients into the human cell, it's water that does that. And what makes this quite unique, more unique than anything else I've ever seen, is without manipulation, without magnetic and electrical manipulation, that this symbiotically, through biology, nature's evolutionary biology, created a way to create the 4th phase of water. Now, let's talk about the first 3 phases. We all learned about this as young boys and girls in school. The first is fluid or liquid. We all know that. That's what you put a spigot on, or in a swimming pool, what we fill it with. #2 is solid. That's ice. And #3 is vapor. The 4th phase of water that this contains is pulls things in and pushes things out. So it's sort of like a transfer, and it's a receptor site. So it makes things happen, but it converts and transmutes what's actually happening and transforms it into something else. So this is how the purification occurs. And there's really solid science on this today, and as a matter of fact, it's an emerging science and has opened up an entire new world of biology. Because when we talk about a 4th phase of something as important as water that makes up most of your body and most of the earth, we're talking about the profound foundational truth that prevails when it comes to biology and the way it works in the body.
If I could give a kind of a visual demonstration, and this is what I was explained by Shimonishi when I first came into this. They didn't call it 4th state, but they called it structured or 6 hexagonal, and which is the same thing. if you look at a tap water cluster of molecules, because you can't shrink the molecule itself, but you can reduce the clusters, the amount of molecules per cluster. And if you look at a tap water, it's very similar to like a zigzag worm, and there'll be 12 to 14 molecules per cluster. What this does is it actually breaks those, and just to reiterate on that, there's all the stuff that's dissolved and the contaminants are within that cluster. So what this is doing is breaking, like he said, it breaks it down, it catalyzes it, ushers it out, and it pulls in. But what it's doing is it's actually pushing those molecules back to their six-sided state. So now they're free to get in, they're free to move, but they can also help absorb nutrition, and it's like a map, it's like a grid. When you're looking at the fourth state work, when they demonstrate it, it looks like a grid, almost like the Fibonacci type grid, where it's like it matches our biology and our cells in our blood.
But to make this user-friendly for the listener, when you take nutrients, be it the organic plant-based food that we consume here at Hippocrates and help heal people with, or be it a whole food nutritional supplement, it is going to allow that to actually be absorbed into the human cell at a much higher level. The utilization of nutrients are always going to be much better when you do it along with this water. This is really a vehicle, a transport vehicle for many products that we're going to see emerge now in the next several decades.
Wow. Okay, and then so on the flip side of that, how does it remove contaminants in the water?
Well, we go back to the aluminum, or aluminium, as we call it, that we speak about. That's one of the central magnetic fields that we have in that. Now, when you have that in symbiosis with the minerals that are almost like the universe, if we can picture the planets going around and the Earth spinning, it all together sort of pulls it into the middle, and it holds it there. And so what you end up doing is transmuting it or polarizing it so that it's something different than it was to begin with.
And we have a test to show, and what Shimonishi discovered, along with what he just said, and NASA actually uses a technology very similar to purify the water in space. They have aluminum plating with iron, ferric iron induction, and they electrocute it, and it precipitates everything. Well, what he found was when the aluminum and iron were together, they created an even additional magnetic charge to do exactly what he said, to pull everything in. And so to give the user confidence and understand, well, we're not consuming all this high amounts of aluminum and iron, are we? When you filter those precipitates are now filtered out. The aluminum and iron are actually contained in those. So you will see the levels of aluminum and iron actually reduced down to even below EPA limits. So it allows the user to understand, hey, this is not a bottle of aluminum and iron, this is a technology based on natural earth ecosystems.
Well, what he's discussing is the problem with science today, that we see things on a very surface level and we make institutions that surround it, but there's something quite important behind the scenes, and that's what we're now discussing. This is the veil that's come down, which we call quantum biology. And we start to understand that pretty much everything we've learned up until now in the beginning of the 21st century has been faulty at some level. Not wrong, you don't have to be wrong, it just has to be information for the time. Now we have information for the next phase, the next paradigm in science.
Can you please explain to us what ionic sulfate minerals are?
Ionic sulfate minerals are the minerals that are contained in all of the life's water systems. So when you're looking at oceans, springs, you have sulfate minerals, and they make their conversions as they go through those streams and the rivers. What we do is we take the concentrate, it's a pure state of those minerals. It's unadulterated, so it's not mixed with carbons, because you have carbon waste in water, you have trash in water, and this is mixing with these minerals, creating other minerals. We take the pure state, and we put that in a usable, friendly form that's safe for everybody, doesn't harm the skin, doesn't harm the body, doesn't harm anything, it's non-toxic. And we bottle that so that people can simply add it to their own water. And now they can simply take a teaspoon per gallon, add it to their water, stir, and see the magnificent response to the water that the water has to these minerals by doing exactly what we talked about, precipitating out all of the contaminants.
Got it.
So this is going to be revolutionary for people who are traveling, as an example. and you can't carry with you a water filtration system. So 1 gallon, or a little more than 4 liters of water, with a tablespoon, a soup spoon, you put it in there, and it's not going to take everything completely out, but it's going to neutralize the harmful chemicals that are in that water that man created, or man mined, so there's too much in. Why we want this, and why it's part of the Hippocrates Life Give line, is quite simple. Because every time we take it, it's going to enhance the biofrequency, the electrical charge of every cell, 100 trillion cells in your body. But it's going to also allow more nutritional absorption from the food you eat, the juices you drink, and the whole food supplements you consume.
Are there any other products on the market that are like these ionic sulfate minerals?
There is absolutely no other product on the market. That this gentleman pioneered something very important along with his mentor from Japan. And I think that this is the beginning of something very powerful. The usage of this product or these minerals is going to be endless. That we now talk about the human impact and the health impact of that. I think we can talk about the water purification of all of those pharmaceutical drugs that we speak about that's in every drop of water that people are now consuming everywhere in the world. I don't care if you're in the furthest outreaches, you are drinking pharmaceutical drugs. And so this is a encyclopedia of potential. And it's really a powerfully interesting thing to watch, and I'm happy that I'm here to help start to push this into the biological sciences.
Now, I know that you've done a number of tests on the minerals yourself. Do you plan on doing any more tests?
Well, we've done what we would call the most important foundational testing. That's why we've now embraced it. The second testing will be when we've placed thousands and thousands and thousands of people on it, and we continue to do our due diligence with nutritional evaluation, very advanced testing, and see if what have been discovered from the first phase continues, and we're going to report that periodically as it goes forward. What we will see, without a question, is greater amounts of nutrition in the human body, and when you have that, you have greater amounts of health, stronger immune systems, and a reversal of disease and disorder, as well as premature aging is going to slow down.
Right. So I also have a couple of questions that would come from some viewers, particularly mothers. So mothers that are nursing, would this benefit them, using these minerals?
No question this is going to. I mean, this would be the first thing I gave a mother who was pregnant or nursing a baby. Why? Because moms today, even the most pristine lifestyles today, the poor mom is heavily contaminated with poison, not even knowing it. It's in the clothes, it's in the food, it's in the air, it's in the water. So if we can neutralize that at a great level, can you imagine how beneficial that is for the health of the mother and the child?
Sure.
Actually, my first experience with this product was when my wife was nursing our first child, and she always experienced this excruciating pain when she would lactate. She'd wake up in the morning clenching, trying to endure that pain. And so the first thing I noticed was after the first day of drinking the water, the pain just disappeared. And my child, who at the time was a bit colicky, meaning crying all the time, all of a sudden the crying stopped. So I knew that not only did it affect my wife and help her breast milk come in with no pain, but it had an effect on my child, which seemed to ease her and calm her and relax her.
Because it affects the nerves and the neurons that move up and down the nerves, and it calms them. It sort of takes it and grounds the nerves. And this way, you're not going to have pain. It's going to take the needle out, as we say.
So the last couple of years, there's been a lot of talk about these super shots. And I'm not sure, were you doing the super shots when you were doing the tests last year?
No, we weren't.
Can you elaborate on the super shots and how do we do the super shots? What are the benefits of the super shots?
Well, super shots, when you're talking about Canada Health, they actually allow us to take a lot more of the product on a daily basis, because when you're talking about the difference between America, Canada, the World Health Organization, there's a difference between the amount of iron that they say we should have. And actually pregnant women are supposed to have more, just so people understand that. When you take a super shot, you're actually supposed to consume a lot of water with that. And how I explain that to people is, water is the freeway. The minerals are the vehicles. And if you don't have enough freeway, you can't get the vehicles to where they need to go. So ushering out, and the two main functions of the minerals themselves is to deliver the nutrition, take away the toxins. So if you don't have the freeway, the bridge, to have the minerals allowed to do that, you're not going to get the results desired. So a lot of people need to understand that drinking appropriate amounts of water with these minerals is very important.
And most mineral supplements are not digested. They create hardening of the arteries, stones. They just don't digest in the body. That's what makes this remarkably important. To repeat again, the most important thing I've said about these minerals is before this, we only could find these in plant-based minerals that had been converted ironically, electrically, through the root system of the plant and the water coming up into the plant itself that you're going to eat. Now we're finding it firsthand that nature itself converted it to electrically charged minerals. So it can now go into the cell and hydrate the body. What's more important than when you're pregnant than to be hydrated? My gosh, it's so important.
Absolutely. I don't want to get redundant here, but there are some questions. I'm asking you some questions that you've already answered. I just want to make sure that we cover it. And one of those is the concern about having high iron or aluminum content in the body. Can this be harmful to our bodies? Can we be overloaded with this type of iron and aluminum?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you took non-organic aluminum or aluminium and iron, you're in big trouble, because what you're going to end up doing is taking the normal electrical frequency of the cells in the body's organ systems and throwing it off. It's going to be a negative magnet in this case. But on the contrary, this particular Clarity product will do the reverse of that. It's going to take away the unwanted minerals, because it's going to go through that universal flow we spoke about, filter through the fourth phase of water, taking it and converting it into something radically different, and purging those non-needed minerals out of the body, and replacing them with electrically charged minerals, the only ones the human cells relate to.
Oh, thank you.
And that also has something to do with the stone that they come from. Mica, all of the minerals are oxides, which are negatively charged, just like our cells. So that just adds to what he's saying, to say, that is one of the reasons why they are compatible with our cells. They're negatively charged, just like our cells.
Well, this is a case where negative's good, just like negative ions and negative, so the negative charge of the cell and the negative charge of the mica mineralization, they're attracted to one another.
Okay, so I want to switch gears a little bit here. So there's a lot of information about the agricultural use of this product. Can it be used to clean fresh vegetables and fruits?
Yeah, part of what I've been doing, and part of the research I've already been studying about what it does is, you have a lot of pesticides, you have a lot of oil residues. Most of them are carbon-based. And this product has an innate ability to break down carbon waste. So I soak all my fresh fruits and vegetables in this water. I'll notice when you chop up romaine lettuce, it will actually fill up, and it'll actually be like firm instead of smooshy down when you're soaking it in the water. It can do that, and that's what people need to understand about this product. It's not just about consuming it for us. You have animals, you have plants, and this actually provides the same platform for the plant. So I believe that it's very important for people that use fruits and vegetables that they rinse them properly. Tap water has chlorine. Well, anytime you have something that has chlorine touch something that has carbon, trihalomethanes are a byproduct. People don't understand that. So when you use something like this, you're actually removing the chlorine, and you're allowing the water to be safe for the plant versus creating some other harmful byproduct.
Right. Well, and now we have, many fields and soils. We have GMOs all over the place.
Let's take it out of the individual application, which is most important because it saves lives.
Right.
But let's take it to the universal and mega agricultural. When we can get this product, and that's going to be Nat's job, down to a cost where agriculture is interested in it. Can you imagine putting that on fields and taking the bad effects away from the chemicals, the pesticides, etc.? I see this taking fields that have not been organic in the past, where it normally takes 7 years of sitting it there before it can now be certified as organic soil, and reducing that down to 6 months or 1 year. Or if you saturated that land that had pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, and God knows what in it, with this water, I assure you, within 6 months to a year, 1 year, it's going to now be organic. And so this has such global, universal, and large applications. I can't imagine how this isn't going to go and change everything we think about with human health as well as agriculture.
And also, I have personally filled up my bathtub with the minerals. And I know some of my friends, they fill up their hot tubs with the minerals. What are the benefits of doing that?
Well, when you're looking at a hot tub, a lot of times people don't understand the maintenance of a hot tub, so they'll buy one and be like, oh no, I don't use it anymore. They're adding all these chemicals and having to balance them because it's very important that the water doesn't contain certain bacteria or things that might be harmful when you get in there. One of the things that you can use this product for is to sustain, and that's part of the phase 4 side of it. It's some machines, there's apparatuses out there that can manipulate water, but they can't sustain that manipulation. These minerals have the ability to sustain the 4th state. So even when you're getting in and out of a hot tub, you actually have 8 months of pure fresh water without having to treat it again. I myself, I take a bath in it about once or twice a week. My kids always, when they take a bath, they're in this water. It's a maintenance factor because the minerals pull out all these contaminants, and your body has fatty oil residues that will also come off of it, and it can't stay in the tub, but you can scrub it off. But it's important to understand that that same thing that it's doing for your drinking water, it's also providing that for your bath water.
I'm sure your children, you as well as you, must feel really...
I'm not too familiar with the computer, so I had to see how we turn it off. I'd like to say that you can have the complete version of this, and we can email it to you, or you can get a hard copy. But there's something to be said about life. There's a lady on TV, her name is Ricky Lake. How many people know Ricky Lake? How many people have ever heard of the business of birthing? Oh, Ricky Lake was very instrumental in that movie, and it happened with my brothers, and I say my brothers because they were hippies. I left the city in the 60s, and they left the city in the 70s. I bought my land at $50 an acre, and I retired when I was 24. I only wish I knew what I knew now when I retired at 24. But my brothers, they were involved with a group called the Caravan, and there were 300 buses that toured the America, and they were trying to explain what love was and freedom. If only we knew what they had then. But love is very special. But when a baby is born at the navel cord, you have almost 275 toxins in the navel cord. And if you understand that when a baby is in the womb, the baby is in a solution similar to the ocean. And that's highly mineralized. It's like your cells. Your cells are highly mineralized, and they don't let in things that are not beneficial. Electrolytes are beneficial. If anybody, who knows what electrolytes are? Good. Before electrolytes become electrolytes, they're minerals. And the bacteria in the soil, it can activate the electrolytes to where the plants can take them up. There's much confusion over inorganic matter and organic matter when it comes to minerals. But I know that when we're lacking in minerals, you have arthritis. Osteoporosis is epidemic in the United States of America. And the main reason is we're taking the wrong type of calcium. How many people in this room drink milk? Wow, very, very, very wise group. You should not drink pasteurized and homogenized milk. There's a Not Milk website, notmilk.com, I believe, where they fed pasteurized and homogenized milk to calves in Nebraska. In 6 weeks, those calves died. They died. The mammal designed to drink the milk wouldn't even live because it's the wrong type of calcium. Now, that's where osteoporosis comes from. It's very deadly, and when you get into extreme arthritis, it's even worse because it's crippling other than just breaking bones. There's scientific proof, and this is a book that I've read over and over again. It's called Sea Energy by Maynard Murray. And in this, this is page 59, you really see what happens when you're highly mineralized. When you're highly mineralized, you're healthier. And not only does it come in the animal form, but in the fruit form. And we're not eating fruit that's ripened on a vine. We're eating fruit like bananas that are picked green and oranges that are picked green and allowed to ripen afterwards. When you pick an orange from a tree, you have 100% of the enzymes necessary to digest it. 30 minutes on a counter, your enzymes are depleted. Now, electrolytes are keys. If you call an automobile a vehicle, that would be like your enzymes. But the key to that automobile is called your electrolytes. You have to have your minerals, your trace minerals. If you don't have the key to start the engine, you can't take your vehicle anywhere. I know that in my experience, and I've read thousands of books for my own benefit, and there's many people that maybe some of you might have heard about. How many people have heard about the Institution of Hippocrates in West Palm Beach? Well, that's good. Brian Clement is the director for 4 decades, and when I had cancer, when I was 60, I had cancer, and I was also a practicing diabetic. And the information the doctor gave me, well, you're going to have to take this insulin the rest of your life. You don't have to take insulin. There's another institution in Arizona, the Tree of Life. Have anybody heard about the Tree of Life? Yes. They eliminate diabetes in 30 days. And yet, if you look at the medical profession, they'll say there's no cure for diabetes and there's no cure for cancer. I have a friend, Dr. Larry Caldwell. I published his book. It was called The Only Answer to Cancer. He's got a 92% cure rate for cancer. 92% cure rate. There's over 300 known cures for cancer. Another friend of mine by the name of Dr. John Lebecki, now this is, you can believe this or not, but I've seen it happen. You can unplug cancer in less than 5 minutes. Less than 5 minutes by changing the electrical frequency in the body. Now, how do I know that? I had a friend that had a 3-year-old daughter. She had brain tumors. And matter of fact, I met Dr. John Lebecki here at the Chicago Health Expo 5 years ago. And my friend, went through Brian Clement Hippocrates, which is basically improved the nutrition that goes in. Raw foodist, some of you people might have heard of a young man by the name of David Wolf. David Wolf, yeah, he's really a very outspoken individual. Some people have other names for him, but he had Crohn's disease when he was younger, and so did another young man by the name of Paul Neeson. Now, Paul Neeson spoke here yesterday, and he had Crohn's disease. And then there's another man by the name of Reuben Jordan. He was an author of a book called Patient Heal Thyself, and he had the largest supplement company in the world. Well, he sold that supplement company last year, and he bought 7,500 acres in south central Missouri, and he created another company called Beyond Organic. And if you understand what is beyond organic, it is the wisdom acquired to knowledge when you put it into practice. I know that I might be jumping around to some of you, but there's a purpose to the madness, and that purpose is the truth. The truth will heal. When I say the truth will heal, why do I say that? Because it does. You can bury the truth, but it'll never die. In the pyramids, seeds 3,000 years old can still germinate. That's a pretty powerful seed, isn't it? When you look at a mighty oak tree, where do you think that mighty oak tree came from? Did it come from that seed? Yes, it did. Because every seed, whether it's a human seed, the germination is 9 months. Of course, the first one, many of us know, we don't have the date on it, the first one. But after that, it's 9 months. This book, The Healing Our World, and I don't know if I went over it as well as I should, but you can call this institute, Hippocrates Health Institute, or send them an email, and you can request this, and they will mail this to your home for free. On this cover, you see genetically modified food, GMO. If you think mineral deficiency is bad, you ought to educate yourself about GMO foods. GMO foods, Monsanto is pulling a plug on your life, your grandchildren's life, and the future generations. If you don't know the damage of this, educate yourself and stand for it, because when you eat genetically modified food, 2 things happen. One, it creates a pesticide in your gut and can cause cancer. If anybody's been watching the news, I think it was Japan was the first one that says, we are not going to import any more wheat from America. The second one was North America. So if you look at the farmers and you look at our future existence, and I'm saying this because this is my heart, people control your food supply. Who do they control? Everyone. And the bad thing about it is they're sacrificing your children by creating this genetically modified seed. And Monsanto, in the last 2 years, has purchased over 5,000 seed companies. And if you're not aware of that lurking, most dangerous thing to our civilization, you should stand against it. Now, I'll get back to where all sickness and disease comes from. All sickness and disease comes from a weakened immune system. How do we have a weakened immune system? Malnutrition, dehydration, adrenal exhaustion, and stress. And the biggest thing is the lack of trace minerals that this product carries, Life Force. I am such a believer in Hippocrates, the father of medicine, that said, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. It's not the food in our life, it's the life in our food. And I just want to say that if you want any other additional information, you can stop by our booth, and the booth number is 534. You can see how sharp I am. This product, once I realized, and I proved it to myself, because I was the one that put these people together and brought the credibility back to the product. And I believed in it so much. It's like the shaving commercial, you know, you're a shaver that gave a good clean shave. Well, I bought the company. It's a private label. And this label is called Life Force. And those of you are familiar with Hippocrates, Dr. Brian Clement, he has a book called Life Force. That's where the name came from. And Hippocrates private labeled it, and he was my first master distributor. There's a business opportunity involved with this product, but if you just take it for your own health and nutrition, I would encourage it, because every man, woman, and child needs to consume this product. You can take sewage water. You can take the scummiest green pond water and make purified water, pristine water from this product. It also neutralizes the chlorine and fluoride. It suspends the heavy metals. It works on radiation. It was designed to eliminate radiation. You know that if you drink milk or if you eat any beef, you get radiation. Your cell phone is radiation. Your radio, your TV is radiation. You can neutralize that radiation. There's a lot of information that we're being kept from us. And I'll say this, that it's up to you to be your own doctor. And if you educate yourself on what the body needs minerals. Where do you get them? You get them from the sea, you get them from the rock, you get them from the plant. But if the only thing that can come out of this bottle is what's in it, and the only thing that can come out of the soil is what's in it. When you use pesticides and herbicides, you kill the life force in the soil, which is the bacteria. I'll say this, that if you don't have minerals, you're cruising for a bruising. And I had my personal experience. I had a total knee replacement. It went wrong, and I was in pain for 8 months. I couldn't get rid of the pain. And 3 weeks on this product, my pain, my knee is totally gone. And I also had blood sugar reduction. So there's a lot of time that I like to take. Are there any questions? Because I only got a matter of minutes. Yes, sir.
There's filters out there, grid, zero water, reverse osmosis systems. Are those filtering these
Reverse.
minerals out of the water?
His question was about reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis is the dead water. So is distilled water. Distilled water, another word for it is hungry water, because it takes the minerals, inorganic and organic, out of your body. If you want to detox your body, distilled water, 30 days is very good. Hippocrates had it for 4 decades until they realized what it does. But that was a good question. You've got to know what's in your water. This is tap water. This bottle contains tap water. And you see the sludge at the bottom? You have to know what's in your water. There's chromium-6 in Chicago. You wouldn't drink that looking at it. But in Chicago water, and Chicago's not the only city that has chromium-6. Chromium-6 is deadly. Karen Bakovich's movie, about the love canal and the toxicity was deadly. This product turns chromium-6 into chromium-3, which is a usable chromium. It has over 100 trace minerals. If you want more information, I'd be glad to stay as long as you want, answer all your questions. I have, how much time do we have left there, young man? 1 minute. 1 minute. Well, I'll be available as long as anybody wants to stay, and I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule and joining us. Come visit our booth. This magazine, Hippocrates, I didn't have enough to pass out to everybody, but if you want to stop by the booth, you can get this magazine for free. Thanks for coming, and have a very joyful day. And remember that this body was designed to live forever. And there was a chicken cell they put in a metric dish, and they kept that chicken cell alive for 35 years. Change your water, you change your life. So buy some Life Force. Thank you. Anybody